Hey,
Hey,
I think we're here.
I
We
think
is
we are. I think we're back.
we is live.
He is live. Hey, that worked.
There you go. Well, there. May the force be with you.
Yes.
I was very forceful before the show started.
Yeah. Well, yeah, those things happen.
Yeah.
It was a little bit behind the scenes, folks, but things don't always work, but they did this time. We're going to leave it at that. Aren't we, guys?
We are.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show.
Yay.
Astronomy Edutainment Outreach as well. So, yeah.
Edutainment.
My name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada.
Yay.
All right. I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Hey, Paul.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody. And also Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in St. John. And why don't you describe what PFO means, Mike?
Pretty far out.
Here you go. Not the other.
Foe.
PFO.
Foe.
Okay, and we'd like to welcome all of you tonight from YouTube and Facebook Live. We are up on both tonight, it looks like, so good stuff. Now, on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, yesterday, amateur and professional astronomers from around the world celebrated International Astronomy Day by offering public outreach events of all types to help promote space and astronomy education. Now, although the weather didn't cooperate for us here setting up locally, as normal, we did take part in a celebration locally by offering a free astronomy workshop. And I was honored actually last night as well to participate in the online Global Star Party event done by Explore Scientific and Rask Canada, which was an event right across Canada, actually. They started from Newfoundland and worked their way right across the country to Vancouver, which was really nice. A 4-hour program. Anyway, with the increased interest in astronomy, particularly since COVID, it seems more important than ever now to continue to offer some type of public outreach. And as we get into our summer season, people are more likely to be out as well. So tonight we're going to take a look back at yesterday's events and discuss some of the benefits of sharing views of the cosmos, both to the observer and to the astronomer, and how sharing that knowledge is not only satisfying, but essential for the next generation of astronomers, for sure. Okay, so on top of that now, Binovad will be returning with another fine binocular target of the week.
Absolutely.
Paul will be delivering another interesting Rosanna's fun fact for us to enjoy. Yep. I'm going to quick look at one of our celestial events coming up this week, along with a display of your photo submissions. So let's get started, guys, with tonight's program. A little bit of a chat around International Astronomy Day.
Well, it was.
Started in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, may the force be with you. Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, yesterday was a fun day. It started, we had 4 talks altogether. Kirk did a talk on constellations and how the sky moves. Mike stepped into the equipment selection part, how to choose your equipment, and Paul stepped into photographing the night sky, and I walked into a layout about the solar system and our place in the universe, and a few celestial events coming. So yeah, it worked out to a full day.
It did.
It was a
long day.
long. Those are long days, and it's long for the participants too. I know, get into 8 hours. You're talking about a long time for people to stay involved and stay interested. So,
But you know what?
Actually, they did. We had people. They were there. That most of that group was there all day long.
Yeah.
That was really, really good.
They were engaged.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it shows the interest that we have, with astronomy, and it just seems to be a hot topic lately.
Yeah.
I guess it's because, again, since COVID, during COVID, I guess people were kind of stepping aside from life, I'll say, and they were looking for some other interest, and astronomy kind of picked up from that point. I know I picked up a lot of followers just after that, but it's becoming, there's more of it in the news lately. Space news is talking about going back to the moon, Mars, all the missions going on, and people just seem to be looking up a lot more. There's, the aurora shows that we're seeing. The sun is very interesting lately. We get some nice meteor showers. Even a nice lunar eclipse, solar eclipse brings people out to look up. And for me, if they're not looking down at their phone and looking up, whatever the occasion is, if it's a super moon or, it's some special event that they're called, that the media jumps on top of, and that's fine. It still gets people to look up for me, I think. Trish says it was a great day. Wish I had stayed longer. There we go. So yeah. Any of you that are as amateur astronomers as well, if you're setting up equipment anywhere, what are you getting for comments back? Uh, I know Mark Ficken here, he's been out quite often as well. And Amber says great sessions yesterday. Thank you, Amber. So yeah, I mean, for me, when I approach other people or when I see other people approaching us, it just seems to be natural. Let me share a few pictures here from yesterday. If I can, maybe while I'm sharing the pictures, we can talk a little bit, guys, about outreach in general and what we've been involved with, I guess, locally even. Let me share my screen here.
Yeah, when Kurt and I were having a chat yesterday about how the school curriculums are starting to include astronomy in a lot of it. Now, it may be a term thing, it may be full-time for some, because some schools are investing a lot in equipment now, and because they're investing in equipment, they're also investing in the time to put it together and creating this program around that. And the kids are learning an awful lot, probably more now than they ever did, because there's so much more acceptability to astronomy today than what there's ever been. So
Exactly. Yeah. From yesterday, are these showing? Yes.
yep.
Yeah.
So here's a few shots just from yesterday. We had a few empty seats there, but people were dropping in and out as well. Some were coming for just one part of the session, and so we were welcoming anybody coming in the door. This is Kurt put on his first presentation for the constellations and how the sky moves, basically. And
He carried that moon around a lot.
he did, didn't he? Yeah. Mike did a basic equipment for astronomy course, or talk, I'm sorry, on binoculars and telescopes, what type of telescopes you should be looking at, what kind of price range you should be looking at, that type of thing. And I should remind, well, maybe one of you guys bring up the St. John Astronomy Club page, Mike, sjastronomy.ca, so we can share what's out there on that page maybe as well. And Mike, Paul, I'm sorry, was into astrophotography. How to shoot the moon, how to shoot the Milky Way, and
Yeah.
Paul, just like me, talks with his hands.
Yeah.
A lot.
Funny that way. I
Yeah.
want to bring up Mike's talk because what impressed me about it, and I think with all that was said in that talk, what I think most people went away with was the fact of they're not purchases; they should be investments. And it makes so much sense not only in the telescope world, but in anything that you buy as a hobby or even as a profession. You can't you can do certain things with a little bit of money certainly, and use as certainly a good way to get some good quality equipment for less. But whatever you spend the money on, make sure that you're interested in it. And he Mike also talked a lot about how you start with this with just binoculars. Just buy some binoculars and get out there and do that first. And then if you find that, I don't mind standing around the cold and perhaps even the mosquitoes because I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. Well, then, then it's time to maybe think about making that first purchase, that first investment. And then he talked a lot about, why you don't buy those department store telescopes because of all the frustration. And it's a really negative way about starting your journey. And why you should always, get a better scope. And that's why it becomes an investment, because you put some money into it, but you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So I thought that overall talk was good, but that was a really major point, I thought.
Yeah. Probably the most important point of the whole talk for Mike was that binoculars are a great way to get started. You don't have to invest big money. And again, like you mentioned, Paul, you got to find out if you really like being outside for long periods of time. Comfort is a big part of it. But before you invest heavily into any equipment, find out if it's really something you really want to do, because you don't want it sitting in the closet, 95% of the time.
But we're not advocating that you don't buy, because if you do, you don't like doing it, you're probably going to deal on Astro buy sell, so.
Get a hold of one of us and we'll probably, we'll make a deal. Yeah. Reel them in. Yeah, reel them in.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the session went well. We enjoyed it, and actually at the end of it, my laptop didn't work very well, but I think I've got that problem worked out now, so it should be better for the next one.
you just brought that over with a show from you, that's all.
I did, yeah. We have talked about maybe doing an online version because I did get a number of people who asked about is there going to be an online component to it, and we couldn't yesterday because the fact that we were there with people, answering questions. So it was pretty difficult to do an online part at the same time. We'd need to be set up directly just for that, say a video camera on us. And so we did do that once before, quite a while back. We did a talk about what kind of things we wanted what kind of things to look for Christmas.
Yeah.
Years ago now. And the place itself has very poor internet signal. So it might be something that might be a problem, but we're talking about maybe doing the same course itself again, but online next time
Yeah,
to reach more people. And and last night, of course, too, they had St. John Astronomy Club local monthly meeting. So I asked Mike to send me a picture so I could include him in my talk last night. And I got a picture of everybody just kind of sitting there bored. But then I said, turn around and give me a high five or a wave from everybody. So we did. So
was that Mike trying to run into the picture? Did I just see an arm in the corner? Was that Mike's arm?
I think it is, yeah.
No, I'm taking the picture.
Oh, you're taking a picture.
I'm surprised my thumb's not in the way.
Probably that looks like it's Stefan's arm, maybe. Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
his arm, that is Stefan, yeah.
Yeah. So this is our location that we have our meetings, Rocket Park Interpretive Center, right beside the duck pond at Lily Lake.
That was a real interesting talk that Kurt had on basically what happens to the human body in space over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it didn't realize that some of the toxins that can happen to you is what really caught my ear. You are getting irradiated all the time as well. Him working in the nuclear industry for as long as he did, he was saying that it's surprising how much you get radiation you actually get while you're up there, just even in the space station.
Yeah.
And the possibility of how you can turn into long-term sickness and things like that. It's really scary stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't admit it too much on NASA's site, but apparently about 80% of all astronauts that go up there have a tendency to have a protein spill.
Oh.
I suppose nothing.
Yeah. The human body's just not used to it.
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah. There's been a few shows on the ISS and what it's like up there. In fact, I watched one this afternoon. It was a made for movie, but it wasn't documentary. It was about Russian astronauts and American astronauts being up at the space station. And then all of a sudden the war takes place on Earth. So then the commanders of both the US and the Americans send messages to the three individual, like there's 6 people altogether, 3 are Russian, 3 are American. Yeah. And so they both send messages saying, we're at war, do whatever it takes to take control of the ISS. So it becomes a battle between the Americans. And in the meantime, while this is all going on, they're looking down the portal and they're watching the world be absolutely decimated.
Oh.
So
Quite a movie.
It would, yeah. If you ever get the chance to see, it's called ISS. And it's really quite interesting.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, last night for me, I couldn't make the meeting. Well, actually, I was online on Zoom watching the meeting at the same time I was preparing my talk. But I was on with this group, the Stars Across Canada International Astronomy Day. Was a joint venture between RASC or RASC Canada and the Explorer Alliance group. They did their 170th Global Star Party. We're at 258 episodes. I think tonight is 259 episodes of our program. So 170 episodes for them is a huge commitment as well. And Krim in the center there, Krim Jaffer, he sent me these couple of photos from last night captured. So I was on for about 10 minutes or so, just talking about astronomy in our area and what we do and that kind of thing. So it was really nice to be part of the program last night.
Yeah.
Had all these famous people in astronomy and then had me at the very end. Like, hey, Chris.
Yeah, when I actually tuned into that, I was watching it a little bit. Where they had a gentleman on who was one of the original people that actually ran the telescope in its day when they were doing research and stuff with it. And then beside him was the new guy that is running the telescope now that they've restored it, and it's basically there for public outreach. And
Okay.
listening to the two of them talking was fantastic. You
They had a
know,
nice crew in Ottawa. They were out doing outreach. They set up in a big parking lot. They've been doing it for years now on International Astronomy Day, and they had I don't know, they had 50 or 75 people all sitting there, all lined up, waiting to peek at the moon. They were just sharing the moon because they were in like a big bright parking lot. But even at that, it was fantastic. And that's the key too, is getting out to the people, not necessarily getting the people to you as well. Getting to a spot where it's convenient for people to join you, right?
and it's nice to know astronomers across the country were getting out, whether it was, clear or not.
Yeah.
I tuned in and I was watching them in Hamilton, and it was clouded over there, but they had the table set up and the scope set up, and the
Yeah.
volunteers were all there waiting for people to come.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got a lot more members than we have, yeah,
Yeah.
in our club. But it's great to see people getting involved here. I mean, here's some of our older pictures of outreach. This is at the Urban Nature Park, and of course, the Urban Nature Park is the first urban star park in Canada,
Yeah.
and we support their efforts by offering at least a couple of times a year a public star party event within the park. So we'll have 15 or 20 telescopes set up, and we have usually between, I don't know, 300 and 500 people show up in an evening. And it's always been a great event for us, as well as I guess for the public to come into. It's a very short drive to get in there. People can come in; they're familiar with the area. This is at St. Therese Beach, of course, a spot that we visit a lot locally, and the park gets over 1 million visitors a year. So we have a lot of people that just walk along the beach there and set up or walk along the beach and come over to us while we're set up. This was a date when Jenna from RAS Canada was here, and I think that was the same date, was it? No, that wasn't. No, that was just that was another night. That was another night. We just
Somebody Jenna was there.
yeah. Oh, was it? No.
I don't
Yeah.
think so because I didn't have my C6 down there when Jenna was
Yeah. No, I think we had a C5, a C6, and a C8 all pointed at the same
Yeah.
in the same direction.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong then.
And Maggie was here as well with us.
Yeah.
I got a picture of that later on.
That's in Ham.
That's in Hampton. Yeah. Here we are back at the park again. I think that was when we had a
Oh,
partial eclipse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the public really do enjoy it, and we enjoy setting up for them. It's
St. Martin's.
Yeah.
the part is to try to get a clear sky most of the time. This is just some of the classroom talks that I get lucky enough to be able to participate in. It's neat when you get the kids, like the younger kids, about this age, maybe a little bit younger. When you get to the classroom, they have their hand up before you can even introduce yourself. So you go ahead and say, well, okay, so you have a question? Yes. Now, is it a question or a story? Because there's a difference. So, no, it's a question. Okay. All right. Well, tell me your question. Well, one time, me and my dad, we were out camping. No, that's a story. But you have to cut them off a little bit when the stories come up. But they're very excited about space and astronomy.
So for anybody who's out there tonight that's not from our area, that's anywhere in the Atlantic provinces or right out to wherever you're watching from, did you attend an event on Astronomy Day? And if you did, just chime in and tell us where you saw the event or where you were to partake in your event.
This becomes a very popular thing now too. People bringing their phones and sitting on the eyepiece and taking a photo of the moon as a memory to take home with them. I've been offering some live feeds. I haven't done very many lately, but that's at St. Therese Beach. They're offering a feed of the moon. But it is a great location for people to drop by. It's a very relaxing spot. We're looking south there, straight out the waterways this way here. So it's all south. That's Nova Scotia off in the distance. So we've got everything. That's a part of the sky we want to be looking at anyway. I think that's the night there that that Jenna was down. We were starting to get set up. Yeah, I put a call. I knew Jenna was coming, and I just asked the local guys. I said, "Listen, do you think maybe a couple of people could come by with a couple of scopes and set up and help me support the initiative?" And I think we ended up with 15 or 20 scopes set up there.
Oh,
At the
yeah.
end.
Oh, yeah, at least.
Yeah, and we've done other workshops in the past as well. They seem to go up pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, we do a lot of school outings as well. Like evenings, we'll go in and do a talk during the day and then set up for observing at night. But and okay, so that's about it for outreach. Our local club is pretty active, I'll say, in the province. Um, there are other clubs in the province, but as a RASC group, we do seem to get our share, I guess, of volunteer hours put in for events. And they're always enjoyable. They're always a lot of fun, and it's always great to talk to people who come up to the telescope. And I mean, it's amazing to see how many people have never even seen the moon through a telescope. Like it's just the numbers are just staggering. Um, and when they do get a chance to see the moon, they get overwhelmed by it. It's just not the same as looking at it in a clear sky. So,
Yes,
I, hmm? What's that?
they could over the moon.
Pardon me?
You could, nothing.
Go ahead. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, no, go ahead. You continue on.
Oh, just so some of the outreach that will be coming up. If you go to rasknb.ca, that's the name of the page for the New Brunswick chapter. They'll have these 4 dates up there. These are the Star Party events for this year. We'll be at Kuujjuaq on May the 30th and 31st, Mount Carleton on August the 1st and 2nd, Fundy Park on August the 22nd, 23rd, and back to Kuujjuaq again for the Fall Starfest on September 12th and 13th. If you go to the page, click on the Find Out More button, it'll give you more information about the location where we're at. And they're always very enjoyable. We always try to set them up around a new moon as close as we can get to a new moon part of the cycle. That's why they're kind of close together here.
Oh, just a little thing about the Mount Carl Star Party this year. It's going to be a little different in that we are not going. Normally, when we do the Star Party, we're sort of the main event.
Mhm.
But there's going to be other activities going on throughout the park on the weekend that we're there. And so there'll be a lot to do for everybody morning, noon, and night. So there'll be lots and lots going on. But at nighttime, of course, we'll have the majority of the people down there doing their thing. But there are a lot of other events. So check with Mount Carleton if you're planning on attending that Star Party, because there will be a lot of other events going on in the park. So a lot of stuff for the family to do. If you've never been there, it'd be a perfect time to go up there for your first time because you won't be bored just sitting. I mean, there's nothing wrong with sitting and looking at the mountain, but when there's lots going on, it makes it a lot more fun, especially if you have kids with you. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure now whether they've got the ability to accept a debit or credit either. I think I had to take cash last time.
They do. We have that informed on our sites, and I
Okay.
just got that email. I think it was yesterday. So, in fact, let me just read it here.
Yeah, I mean, you are right in the middle of nowhere. You're a long ways from any town, and that's what you want, I guess, right? It would be the darkest skies in the province. I would have to argue that.
Okay, so just 1 sec here, see if I can find that message.
I think I'll stop sharing here, Paul.
Yeah. I'll probably never find it now. Just hang on. Bear with me.
Some music.
What's that?
This is where we need some music.
You guys can talk amongst yourselves. I'll just find it, then I'll just make the announcement once I have it in my hand.
So we're up for another season of outreach. I mean, we're 3 retirees here now, so we should have more opportunities to be able to set up, and Mondays don't mean as much to me anymore, I guess. But yeah, all we're waiting for really is the weather in our end of it, and it's been really poor on our end for astronomy in the last few weeks for sure.
It seems it doesn't.
Um, okay, we can carry on.
Silence
Yeah,
is
I'll just
golden, while my eyes still see.
think we're competing against a hockey game tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You want to buy no bud?
Yeah, let's so anyway, outreach, I guess final statement, really outreach is a pretty important function for any hobby, I guess, but for us in particular, we really enjoy the fact of being able to visit people visiting with us and us sharing the wonders of the cosmos with them. Um, Brad says, I need to get back to Mount Carlton. I was there once 2 years ago, and it was still one of the best experiences of my life. Yeah, Brad. Like we say, when you go to Mount Carlton, uh, and you're trying to show people the night sky, we have a permission for laser pointers kind of thing. So we'll be drawing out, and you say, okay, well, let's start at Cygnus, and then you look up, and there are so many stars you can't even pick out the constellation. So you're kind of wondering where you're supposed to be. That part, the clouds. If you see clouds in Mount Carlton, you look up and see these large black holes, and there's not enough light to light the bottom of the cloud, as Paul mentioned yesterday in the workshop. So it's that dark. Hold your hand out, and the Milky Way will cast a shadow from your hand on the ground. So it's Disneyland really for us, right?
Yeah.
So we encourage you to try to join us at one of the star parties. We had about 1,000 people. We usually get about 1,000 people at Fundy in a weekend. So
Yeah. So anyway, I got the notification. So here's what they said. He said basically I was just noting on the Rast Mount Carlton Star Party event page. It mentions that the park takes only cash, but we accept debit and credit cards at the gate now.
okay.
So everybody knows that's the case. They never did before because they never had internet up there. But now because where they built the new lodge, they've got internet up there, so now they're able to accept all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you don't have to drag cash. I mean, bring cash anyway. It's always a good idea. But you don't have to pay cash at the gate.
Awesome. Okay. Mark asks, what is the park that you guys normally set up in the city? It's called the Urban Nature Park. If you look it up, Google Urban Nature Park or find it on Google Maps, it's right beside the beach that we normally set up on. It's just up in that park above it.
Yeah.
And that's the one that gets about 1 million visitors a year. So anyway, that's about outreach, and we're really looking forward to setting up a lot more this year. All right. Let's go on to a Bino Bud then.
Alrighty. Binocular target of the week. This week by Bino Bud, in keeping with the times, the very thick Fundy Nebula. This is what we've been seeing a little bit of lately. Yeah, sometimes happens. An evening of stargazing is lost due to the weather, and it seems to be increasing more and more on a regular basis. This phenomenon has duly been labeled the Fundy Nebula. And here is proof. Our own Paul Owen has taken a photograph and caught it in its finest form, the Fundy Nebula at Fundy National Park. How do I find it in the sky? Well, it's not very difficult. If you went outside and looked anywhere, you're gonna find our Fundy Nebula. It's all around you. It's one of those things that's just in the air. What would you see? Well, not a whole lot of anything. You might see the odd light down the street or something, but that's about it. You're lucky if you see a car coming sometimes. 10 by 50 binoculars, yeah, she's pretty much a washout. I wouldn't even, look too hard to see if you can find it. Just any direction you look, you're gonna have it. Compared to the full moon, I got to do this, right? it's big. Let's just say that. And here we go. Are you ready for this one? What makes crop circles? A protractor.
Oh,
Oh, come on. Protractor? You must get that one at least.
we get it. Yeah.
Oh, well. That's Binocular Target of the Week by Bino Bud.
Oh, man. Protractor.
A protractor.
That's about our weather for the next week, I think, anyway. So
That's what I heard. It's not
we should have no trouble picking it out this week.
That's why it became a Bino Bud target. It just falls right into all the other stuff that we get, right?
also in Star Party season, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, tonight is Halley's Comet, right? The meteor shower tonight and tomorrow night. And you look at that, yep, there it is.
There's a couple of great big sunspots on the sun right now, rotating around. They're about 12 times the size of the Earth. They're starting to crackle.
Aurora tonight or something, right?
The Fundy Nebula takes second seat to no one.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. Usually, I mean, August, September are the best months, really, for sure here, especially September.
You
It
don't
like,
get that at Mount Carlton, though.
what's that?
You don't get that at Mount Carlton.
No, no, we don't. No, far
It's
enough
so
inland.
far inland and so far up.
Yep.
That's a good part about it, yeah.
Yeah. But you
All
get a
right.
lot of rain and thunderstorms. We've been in those.
We do. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I got some pictures of that one. I have to bring that one up sometime.
My tent, I was setting my tent up and we had to get out of the rain, and all of a sudden, if I had one peg in the tent and it was flopping like a flag. All for about 20 minutes and then it stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's get into Rosanna's fun fact maybe next, Paul.
He's hang on a sec here, getting us all prepared. There she is. There's Rosanna. We got to see Rosanna yesterday too. It was
Yeah,
nice.
we did. Yeah.
Okay, so let me find my share button. And there we go. And there. And that's this week's.
Says fun fact.
Welcome back, Rosanna, for another absolutely wonderful fun fact. All right, let's get right into it. So Rosanna writes, hi, Paul. Some weeks are just full of so many choices, so much data and new information that one almost needs to write them down and toss them in a hat. These are the random winners for the 17th fun fact of the year. Now, let me just get the photos going here. And get those one up. There we go. So the first in the category of too much data, this is an image of a mosaic of galaxies from Mega Survey. Andy Thomaswick from Universe Today on April 23rd wrote, data from the James Webb Space Telescope is coming in hot and heavy at this point, with various data streams from multiple instruments being reported in various papers. An exciting one will be released shortly in the Astrophysical Journal from researchers at the University of Kansas, where researchers collected mid-infrared images of a part of the sky that holds galaxies from the time of the cosmic noon, about 10 billion years ago. In case you were wondering what the heck is cosmic noon, it's the Space Cowboys arranged. It's that when Space Cowboys arranged to duel. Oh, that's interesting. So let's see what goes on from there. Hang on, let's get rid of that one. And let's move on to this one. Cosmic noon corresponds to redshifts of z equals 2 minus 3, when the universe was roughly between 2 to 3 billion years old, coincidentally. Over this relatively short period, galaxies formed half of the current stellar mass. This makes cosmic noon an ideal time to examine mechanisms of star formation. Oh, there we go. This is a still from a nearly an hour-long YouTube video showing just a fraction of the amazing discoveries from the James Webb Space Telescope in year 2. Behold, the Lobster Nebula, NGC 6357, hosts an intricate mosaic of dark dust, gas, and protostars still embedded in their births, disks of gas. The paper coming out soon on cosmic noon describes the result of the Mirror EGS Galaxy and AGN, or Mega, survey, and invites citizen scientists to help catalog and classify some of their findings. According to KU researchers, galaxies were churning out new stars so intensely during cosmic noon, all the galaxies today owe half their stellar mass to the stars forged during this epoch. This is an image from the Mega survey. And I'll just blow that up so you can have a look at it. So observed mega galaxies have a lot of variation in color and morphology, giving insight into the galaxy's ages, dust content, and star formation. And this photo was from NASA, James Webb, and Bacchus. Now, this is interesting. The cosmic noon had me intrigued, so I headed to Zooniverse to investigate possibly becoming a citizen scientist. So there are 75 ongoing projects. Anyone can join. If you are under 16, you will need parental consent. There are 18 astronomy or physics projects, including the new cosmic collisions, which is data about cosmic noon. I could only fit 15 of them on my screen. So these are all images from that cosmic noon that on that site that Rosanna is getting involved with. And the 3 missing ones are just as exciting as these ones. So you kind of have to go through them, but just go on that site and it's pretty cool. The next draw of the hat, or more accurately, a closed eyes cursor wandered over the tabs and clicked, fell in the category of space junk. Launched way back in 1972, Cosmos 482 is about to meet a fiery end. Now let me just get that up. There we go. It's one straight out of the history books. After 50 years in space, the late Soviet Union's Cosmos 482 mission is set to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere in May. Stranded in Earth orbit, there are just a few days remaining to see the enigmatic relic of a bygone era. So this failed lander, possibly still attached to part of the orbiter or the upper stage, and a recent image of Cosmos 482 in orbit. So that's what you're looking at right there. Now, launched on Molniya 8K78M rocket from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on March 31st, 1972, the mission was likely meant to head to Venus. Let me just pop that up. A similar launch involving the successful Venera 8 mission occurred on March 27, 1972, just 4 days earlier. They say likely, as the Soviet space program of the 60s and 70s was largely silent concerning missions and launches until they were successful. This was the era of the Cold War, when relations between the East and West were at nadir. The Soviet Union never acknowledged the launch failure, and the simple Cosmos 482 designation remained. Unfortunately, relations between the East and West are once again uncomfortable, but the world is watching this satellite and its re-entry will be visible. So what you're looking at there is the Venera 8, thought to be identical to the Cosmos 482. You should see that. All right. So as this is a lander that was designed to survive passage through the Venus atmosphere, it was possible that it will survive re-entry through the Earth atmosphere intact, says satellite observer and analyst Marco Langbroek. There are many uncertain factors in this, though, including that this will be a long, shallowy re-entry trajectory in the age of the object. Now, this is a projected orbital pass of Cosmos 482 on the morning of May the 6th. So that's kind of what they're suspecting it'll do. So Heavens Above now has predictions for the mission on their main page. Re-entry is still projected for a pretty wide swath from 52 degrees north to 52 degrees south latitude, so stay tuned for updates on when and where the satellite will appear. It's getting crowded up there. Satellites in low Earth orbit go all the way back to the US Vanguard 1, launched in 1958. And the burden of space junk is getting exponentially more critical in 2025. SpaceX continues to launch large Starlink batches at an exponential pace, and these are now joined by China's 1,000 sales, OneWeb, and just this week, Amazon's Kuiper project, which completed a first launch on April 28th as the company bid for its very own mega satellite constellation. So thinking about this satellite and all the others, plus random space junk, I asked AI, what would happen if suddenly everything began to fall to Earth? It turns out someone has already made a YouTube video about that. And here's a quick 4-shot pictorial essay. So there's the first shot. And so there's nearly 20,000 satellites there. Oh, I went the wrong way. There's the second one, over 100 tons of space debris. GPS systems will start shutting down. And I don't think they noticed AI stuck in a random astronaut. Did you see that on that one? Here. There he is. And and maybe his name was Debris.
Oh,
What a sense of humor she got. And causing even more harm to the planet after they actually hit it. So basically, an apocalypse that would take 10 to 100 years to finally end. The video was much shorter, just over 6 minutes. So definitely not a bedtime story, but be sure to catch Cosmos 482 re-entry. It's not every day, thankfully, that a 50-year-old satellite comes home. Why do you keep reading me stories about satellite apocalypses? And that is this week's.
Says fun fact.
Well, there you go. Fantastic fun fact again. And
a little too close to home if it's going
Well,
to stay in one piece.
it's funny, with what's going on in the world these days. And I know we know what she means. How all of this stuff is just starting to come out. People are thinking about this kind of stuff more and more and more. So anyway,
She makes a good point saying that that one was designed to survive
Yeah.
an entry into the Venus's atmosphere. So I mean that's pretty hot and
pretty brutal, yeah.
pretty brutal. So it could survive. Could it survive all the way to the Earth? And it's a question. It's
I got a
going to get
funny
a shallow
feeling.
angle. So
I got a funny feeling it could. Like I say, look at that map, and that's just a guesstimate. That's a little too close to home when that's coming into, you know.
Yeah.
see, looks like it's coming up I don't know if it's coming up or going down, but it looks like it's coming up.
Looks like it was coming up from
northeastern
Florida
side
up the
seaboard,
coast. Yeah. Anyway,
Get your helmets out.
so if it lands in your backyard, do you get to keep it?
I think so. Try anyway.
That'd be cool, space junk, wouldn't it?
Would be.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's getting pretty crowded up there for sure. Gotta get
Nice
a lot
garden
more.
piece.
All right, let's go for a few photos then. I'm gonna start my notes here first of all. Talk amongst yourselves.
Do.
Notes that right there.
I was just looking at the window, and all of a sudden, the whole horizon went orange from here.
Really?
It's still cloudy, but it's like it's like the fog is orange.
Oh.
That's different.
Orange.
Yeah, well, sunset, right? It's windy, not
All right.
apple.
Let me share my screen here. We'll get to some. There we go.
There is hope, yeah, out there. Oh, nice.
All right, yeah. So we're going to start it with Brad Perry's captures. And Brad says, here's a couple of photos from this week. He says the first is a 2.4% illuminated moon on Monday night, taken in Fredericton. He said this shot actually ended up being Photopill's photo of the day yesterday. Very cool. Hey, nice.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Yeah, beautiful shot. And his other one is this one. He says the second photo is of some aurora on Thursday night taken in Durham Bridge.
Why did we miss that?
Yeah, the crescent moon actually provided some nice lighting on the ground without washing out the aurora too much. So there has been aurora all week long. Like people have been posting. You can go into a lot of the Facebook aurora watcher sites and you can see people posting locally.
Yeah.
And it's just because they're still, we're still supercharged our magnetic field. So it doesn't take much. The wind, I think the other day was at 650 kilometers per second, which is really strong. So you've got all that happening and possibly more this week. Maybe not for us, but for someone.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks for those, Brad. This is a couple of captures from David Samard. Some sunspots on this baby, he says. This is that big one that's coming around there now, 4079.
4079.
Yeah, and you captured a nice capture here too with the
1%.
with the 1%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, David. I'm going to go into Matthew Price capture here of should finally get out and captured about an hour and 40 minutes of IC 5070.
Yes, sir.
Nicely done.
That's only an hour.
Yeah. Amazing.
Nice hydrogen region.
Nice you could find an hour.
Yeah, that's right. Good stuff, Matthew. I'm going to go to Jennifer Day LG's picture here now. I tried a couple of different things with this M81, M82 C-Star S50 shot. First of all, I tried to be patient and gather more data than usual. So over 3 evenings, I obtained 4.25 hours of data. Then I used the newest version of Serial, beta 1.4, and used the curves function and a couple of the other updated features to process the data. I saved out my starless and star mask files as TIFFs and finished them up in the final image in Photoshop Elements using them. Overall, I'm quite happy with this one. I say
Good.
you should be, for sure.
Detail on that, it's quite surprising.
Yeah. Nice, eh?
I have a question for all you C-Star users out there, because I know you can capture the data and process it in other forms and stack it in other forms. But if you're taking 10-second shots and you're taking hours of them, there's got to be virtually thousands of photos. So I'm wondering, how big is the file after you're done stacking it? I'd like to know.
Okay, watch for those. Right now, I got 2 screens covered, but I'll have to.
I'll keep
in a second. Okay. Beautiful shot, Jennifer. Okay, let's get from there to next up is Christian Benoit. This one now of the, this is a M3 globular cluster with C-Star S50.
Love globulars. They're
Mm-hmm.
crazy cool.
Nicely done. Yeah, I mean, whenever you see globular, I always try to picture myself on a planet orbiting one of those stars and what my sky might look like.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing, I'm sure, if you can survive the radiation. And then nice capture of M101 here too, Galaxy. With the C-Star S50, 90 minutes, he said, 10-second frames for 90 minutes. Nicely done.
Mm.
All right, we're gonna go to Kathy Adams, captured the other night there of the moon. Got a lot of moon shots here.
Yes.
Because the moon was so beautiful and we had some nice skies, so why not get out and capture it? That's a great shot there.
Never gets old.
This one's from Robert Gadet. Nice capture, Robert.
Yes, sir.
We're into Mr. Powell's capture here now.
That was at just under 2%.
That was at St. West, you shot
Thanks
that?
for us, yeah.
Yeah, it was at the top of the hill there.
Yeah.
Okay.
On this side of the hill, yeah.
There it is again.
It's hard to get detail on a shot like that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the trick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's so thin, first of all, and then it's not quite dark, and then you're getting into the low part of the atmosphere. So you get 3 things against you, right?
Yeah.
It's a good challenge to try. I think we got a 20-hour moon. I think that was the youngest moon I've ever caught, but 24, right around 24 hours, it's always a nice target or a challenge to get out and try to catch it.
And I couldn't, when the sun was up, I couldn't see it at all. The sun had been down for at least 15 minutes, and then there it was.
Yeah.
Did you find that it's just like all of a sudden it just pops, like there's no slow graduation to it?
Yeah, it just seemed to be there. Yeah. Poof.
That's what I found too.
Did you have to look for it a lot, or did you?
I was scanning the sky back and forth. And then, like I said, once the sun set, about 15, 20 minutes after, I just looked up and popped, there it was.
Yeah.
I go, I was just looking at that area not too long ago.
There's some other ones that Mike captured this week. I grabbed them from your page there, Mike.
I was just trying to get a sliver, but we run out of the sky, of course. I got 4 days in a row anyway.
Oh yeah, you did. That's why I was sharing them here. Yeah, with a nice earth shine there too. So
Very nice.
great
Yeah,
capture.
that turned out better than I thought, actually.
That turned out well.
And Mr. Owen, your capture.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just see those craters ever
Just
so
barely,
slightly.
Yeah,
You can
just
zoom
barely
in on
there.
that. You can see some detail in there, but
Yeah.
like Mike says, it's just barely.
But that's the trick. Keep pushing for it.
Yeah.
This sitting up here.
Yeah, and that's when I first saw it. That's the reason I shot this one,
Mhm.
because just all of a sudden, just there it was. There was no graduation to it. It's like all of a sudden I looked like, oh my gosh, because I was sitting in my car. Like this is up in Hampton overlooking a river, and so I can sit there with my window down, and that's where I usually go for this kind of shot. No sense standing up because you could be there as longer than you want to be. Anyway, and got that, and it's just like, oh my gosh, because there was other people sitting there, and they were waiting for it too.
Okay.
Everybody saw it at the same time, so
It
anyway,
was still quite high in that shot too.
fairly, yeah,
So
fair.
Tim
Nice
Doucette
done.
has an answer to your question there, Paul. He said they're quite small, actually. Says the resolution is only 1080 by 1920, the 4 megabit, after stacking the image, it's about 12 megs.
Well, oh, really? That's it?
Yeah.
Of course, I never thought about the size of the image, yeah, because it's a tiny sensor.
Right?
I never factored that in.
That's cool.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
Move on to Mark Fickin's pack capture here, the Needle Galaxy.
Oh, cool.
Nicely done. Big Dobsonian target in dark skies, he said, or for those stuck in suburbia, readily accessed from a smart scope. A needle slicing through the abyss at end of time. NGC 4564, the Needle Galaxy, about 30 million light years away. Amazing.
Well,
That's
pretty close.
you know what? In black and white, it's so much more defined.
Mm,
I look at that and I wonder if that's where they got the shape of the Star Trek ship.
yeah,
It looks like it, doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
does.
it does, yeah.
But that's nice. That's
Yeah. Nicely
wow.
done, Mark. And
Yeah,
here's the
Robert
capture of
Cadet
the
said he
sun.
gets about 25 megs with the S50.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Another sun capture as well from Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Very nice.
I'm going to move into Francois Theriault's captures here.
Beautiful, eh?
He does some, yeah, just amazing stuff. So I went into, pick these ones off. M92 globular cluster in Hercules, often thought of as the other globular cluster in Hercules. I prefer this one since it is more colorful than its big sister M13. Surprisingly, both contain about the same number of stars. Now, this telescope was a Malincam VRC-8, focal length of 1625 millimeter. Camera was a ZWO ASI 585 MC.
So when you look at that image, what impresses me with this, first of all, it's a star control, but I'm assuming that's a crop. But when you look at the stars, you can see all the blue stars and the orange stars amongst that cluster.
Hmm.
He's captured those very, very well. Very definitive
Yeah.
star capture.
Yeah, the
Beautiful.
colors just amazing, pop right out at you.
No, very
These are some of the oldest stars in the universe right here.
nicely done.
And about 160 of these globular clusters orbit the Milky Way. Well then, exposure time, total 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
75 times 120 seconds. Nicely done.
Nice bright object too, right?
Beautiful, yeah. I got a few more here to share from him. Here's this one. And this is the Koi Fish Galaxy, KOI. Caldwell 36, it is. It's an intermediate spiral galaxy in the constellation of Coma Berenices. I tried to find out why it's nicknamed the Koi Fish Galaxy. I presume it's because of the abundance of bright blue stars resembling blue scales on a koi fish. Okay, could be.
Okay, I'll go with that.
That's as good as any.
Yeah, why not?
Lots of blue stars there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Malacam, same telescope, same camera, and this time 4.2 hours exposure time.
Yeah.
Well done. And I'm going to share another here. This is called the Box Galaxy, and it looks like a box. I don't know where he finds these, but they're kind of neat. I mean, they're not popular for people to pick out, but they're awesome targets. The Box Galaxy is an irregular galaxy in Canis Venatici. It is a satellite galaxy of M94, similar to the Large Magellanic Cloud, and it's a satellite to our similar to the Large Magellanic Cloud being a satellite to our Milky Way. My image is the result of only 3 hours of exposures, yet it is sufficient to see the trail of stars from NGC 449b in the upper left. Looking for that. Trail of stars. You talking about here, maybe?
Can you zoom in on the galaxy?
I can, yeah. Oh, I mean, he's talking about here in the upper left, I guess, yeah, of the galaxy. This is an elongated globular cluster with a long star trail due to the tidal interactions with the main body NGC 4449. It is literally being ripped apart by its larger neighbor. And the same telescope with a total exposure time of 3 hours.
Yeah. That's an interesting galaxy. I've never seen that.
It is,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one in its neighbor, I guess.
Very interesting.
Nicely done. Okay, and finally, this one here, the ring. The capture, beautiful capture. Finally, clear night, he said, after about 6 weeks of cloudy skies, present to you the M57 Ring Nebula. Favorite of visual observers for sure during summer observation sessions. The Ring Nebula is actually visible in early morning hours at this time of year in the eastern sky. It'll soon be in our evening sky. It is essentially a star that went nova, and it is in the process of expelling most of its ionized gas during its collapse into a white dwarf star.
That's a pretty popular target, star
Very
party.
powerful target. That's
Yeah.
our sun in 4.5 billion years, right there.
There's our donut.
That's the donut.
There's the donut. Yep. Same telescope and a total of 3 hours of exposure time. So fantastic capture.
It's a great target if you want to spend a lot of time on it, because there's a lot of stuff to reveal on that target.
Yeah, for sure. White dwarf right in the center there.
Hmm.
She done. Great captures there, Francois.
Very nice.
All right, and if you have photos to share, you can always send them in to astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast, just like we just did there. So, and what's coming up this week? Let's have a look at our. There we are.
More nebula.
No more to say than that. That's our forecast. Wow, what a
Folks, when you go out,
April, May.
make sure that you have your special safety glasses on for this nebula.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, for sure. Yep, and the wipers on them too,
Well, you'd think they would throw one day in there just to give you hope.
just to give you hope. Yeah. I think Monday they're saying partly cloudy, but increasing cloudiness by tomorrow night. So anyway, you can always go here though to find out what is coming up. You can go find Lisa's Look Up Astronomy and More on and she'll have this chart here. This is the for the month of May. Lisa sends this to me every month, so we keep updating it. She lists the event coming up, the date of the event, the peak time for the event, and seeing tools, what you need, naked eye, binoculars, or a telescope. You can find Lisa at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Mastodon, Facebook, Threads, and now on Blue Sky. So thank you, Lisa.
Well, the best part is with the weather we're having, she can't be wrong.
That's right. And here's our updated May-June calendar for Brask NB and for the St. John Astronomy Club, put out by Kurt Nason. So we've got this week coming up. May the 4th be with you. Sure. Lunar straight wall tomorrow, and then Neptune between Venus and Saturn on Wednesday. We're not going to see that either. Moon by Spica. We might get a chance to see it by Friday. Who knows? But anyway, if you want to see what is coming up, you can download that calendar at sjastronomy.ca. I think that's about it.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. May the 30th, 31st. So this month. Star party.
Yeah, there we go already. Yeah, the first star party.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Time's moving by fast.
Oh, Robert says 25 meg with his S50. So for that data. So I mean that's not a lot of data to process. That's surprising me, and I never considered it because I'm so used to using an APS-C size sensor to capture my data. When I'm done with a project like Francois, sometimes I'm, I could be 10 gig for for an
Right. Yeah. No, amazing. So yeah, these smart scopes are really taking off for sure. And they have their
even get like that. And I think like when Mike was talking about at the talk yesterday, about all the different automatic scopes, I'll call them. The one from Celestron that uses the Hyperstar, that system would use a larger sensor, so you would have a lot more higher resolution data from a system like that.
Yeah.
And the price I think Mike and I talked about was around 5,000 to 6,000, somewhere about there.
So,
But if you take just one APS-C size camera from ZWO, a mono camera, you're looking at $3,000. And then by the time you filter it up with a filter wheel, you're at $5,000. With that system that Mike showed, that comes with the telescope, the camera, all the goods, the mount, everything. So for 5,000, that's actually a really good value for that type of a high resolution astrograph. So anyway, I just wanted to make that point. So
awesome, great. Brad says it's supposed to clear off tonight and be beautiful up here tomorrow. Come on up, he says. Well, you never know, Brad.
on our way.
Anyway, okay, so that's our show for this evening. Hope you enjoyed the program tonight. Special thanks, of course, goes out to Rosanna again for another fantastic fun fact. Thank you, Rosanna. Heads up, get your helmets on. Let's watch for that one. That one's going to be a good show. Special thanks to all of you out there who share our program with your friends and family. Remember too, we do love getting your photos. Send them in to astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast. So till next week, everybody, wishing you all clear skies. As we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes.
point it up.
Good night, everyone. Have a great week. Why don't we sign out? Oh, we'll sign out maybe here. Let's try this one. Boop, boop.